When the sky is the limit and you want to transform your majestic mountain land into a castle complex, who do you call? In the early 1900s, when thousands of trained architects in America designing college buildings, skyscrapers, and elaborate mansions across the country, who would William Randolph Hearst, owner of the largest newspaper chain and media empire in the world, call upon? His empire included 28 newspapers, 13 magazines, 8 radio stations, 4 film studios, extensive real estate holdings, and 31,000 employees. He called on Julia Morgan to design his California castle. Julia Morgan, later known as America's first truly independent female architect, was born in 1872 into an elite Black family in California. She graduated from Oakland High School in 1890 and the University of California at Berkeley in 1894 with a degree in civil engineering. Morgan was the only woman in the engineering class. While there, architecture became her area of interest. She next studied and graduated in 1896 from the prestigious architecture course at École Nationale Supérieure des Beaux-Arts in Paris, France. Morgan was the first woman admitted to the architecture program. Returning to San Francisco, Morgan worked for architect John Galen Howard. In 1904, she became the first woman to attain an architecture license in California. Morgan opened an office in the city and made quite an outstanding name in architectural circles. Her work got the attention of patrons like the Hearst family. Julia Morgan was involved with the Hearst family for 3 generations. Her first architectural project was commissioned in 1902 for Phoebe Apperson Hearst, William's mother, the hacienda at Pleasanton. Seems that Morgan had also done some design work at the Los Angeles Herald Examiner headquarters in 1915. Hearst first approached Morgan in April 1915, shortly after he took ownership of the land holdings. As the site was a family campground, Hearst wanted a bungalow built because sleeping in the tents had gotten old. But after a month of planning, grand prospects blossomed. By late summer 1919, Morgan had surveyed the site, analyzed its geology, and drawn initial plans for the main building. Construction began that year with her persuasion to begin with the guest cottages because the smaller structures could be completed more quickly. Building a castle village. As principal architect for La Cuesta Encantada, better known as Hearst Castle, Morgan had her work cut out for her. Overlooking San Simeon Harbor would be the hacienda, a residence, private guest house complex located a day's horseback ride inland from Hearst Castle. Morgan and Hearst planned the designs for dozens of buildings. The estate includes a Bavarian village of 4 villas, all on 50,000 acres of forest reserve. Morgan had to build a studio from which to do her work on site, and they partnered well together from 1919 until 1947. Victoria Castor, Hearst Castle's in-house custodian, has described the partnership as, quote, a rare, true collaboration, end quote, and there are many letters and correspondences of their close relationship. The 68,500 square foot main residence, which he called Casa Grande, has 38 bedrooms, 42 bathrooms, and 14 sitting rooms. Take a look at some of the bedrooms and a sitting room. There were several guest houses with a total of 46 rooms. Extravagant indoor and outdoor pools. This is the indoor Roman pool. And this the colossal Neptune pool. The assembly room was the main reception room for the castle, where they received and entertained guests. A concealed door in the paneling next to the fireplace allowed Hearst to surprise his guests by entering unannounced. The entire mansion displayed Hearst's expansive art collection, tapestries from around the world, priceless vases, and statuary. The refectory dining room was the only dining room in the castle. The central table seated 22, but expanded for larger gatherings. On the third floor was the Gothic Suite Library, part of Hearst's private apartment, next to his bedroom and private sitting room. The main library was on the second floor. The room contained a collection of over 5,000 books, including his first editions of Charles Dickens, his favorite author. The billiard room was in the north wing. There were extensive manicured gardens with priceless statuary. A pagoda and zoo were added. Morgan's genius extended far beyond Hearst Castle. Among her many projects is the Gregorian Cloister Chapel of the Chimes, the Brown Bear House, Wytown, Bavarian Village, and the Neptune Pool in Oakland. Life was not easy for Morgan. Her first boss, architect John Galen Howard, recognized her talents, but also exploited them, stating that, quote, the best thing about this person is I pay her almost nothing, as it is a woman, end quote. As the first woman to earn an architecture license, Morgan was badgered by the press, who were often more interested in debating her looks and femininity than in evaluating her work. As a result, she often refused to be photographed, give interviews, or accept awards. But she continued to create Morgan wonders in architecture. The Julia Morgan House is a stately, elegant mansion. The historic house is now a place for business meetings and conferences. It features 4 state-of-the-art conference rooms with seating for 40 people, as well as a spacious living area, library, dining room, and flowering gardens with a fountain that adds to the grandeur. What was Morgan paid for 20 odd years of almost continuous work for Hearst? Her base fee came to $70,755. Her initial fee was a 6% commission on total costs. This was later increased to 8.5%. Many additional expenses and challenges in getting prompt payment led her to receive rather less than this. Historian Kastner suggests that Morgan made an overall profit of $100,000 on the entire 20-year project. Morgan stated that her modest receipts was unimportant to her. At the height of Hearst's financial travails in the late 1930s, when his debt stood at over $87 million, Morgan wrote to him, quote, I wish you would use me in any way that relieves your mind as to the care of your belongings. There never has been, nor will there be, any charge in this connection. It is an honor and a pleasure, end quote. This is who Julia Morgan was.